Welcome to Research Business Daily Report, where market researchers come for news, insights, and commentary about their field, gaining knowledge and assorted other valuable information that they can apply because it impacts them both inside and outside their current place of work. On RBDR today, how researchers can spot and what they can do about ensuring the authenticity and the truthfulness of research respondents who consciously or subconsciously express their feelings and beliefs. RBDR is sponsored today and this week by the RFL Communications Video Testimonial Service. It's based on the fact that every company has a list of highly satisfied and loyal customers, and they are that business's lifeblood. A happy customer normally will allow you to post the logo of their company on your website, and that's certainly nice. But we've developed a marketing promotional tool for research companies that can energize and stoke new business, and that means more revenues and more profits. The RFL Video Testimonial Service delivers a wholly new marketing dimension to research agencies and vendors. The idea here is that video testimonials combine a highly effective content form, namely video, attached to a highly effective content type, the testimonial. And it brings to life content that your customers really do want to see, and in a format with which they will increasingly engage, video. Testimonial videos are created with your guidance concerning what to discuss with the customer, and specifically the customer's specific problem that you help them resolve. It creates relevant, digestible, believable information. Then our 23 years of research experience allow us to relate and credibly speak with any client that you select. Now, your website is designed specifically to attract attention and to drive requests for information about your services. And research shows that customer testimonials are twice as effective as case histories, and the latter predominate on most websites today. They're in the video form candid, sincere, relatable, and if done correctly, actually motivational endorsements of your product or service, and to say the least, far more persuasive than anything that you can say about them yourself. Video testimonials increase click-through rates, they raise conversions, they generate leads, and they greatly contribute to purchase decisions. Your video testimonial will arrive in multiple versions, a 30, a 60, a 90-second, and maybe even longer version. And in about 1 week's time, you'll have it, and at an affordable price. A good testimonial is great throughout your website. You can post it on your homepage, on a dedicated testimonial page, for your sales, and even on a contact page. Incorporate it as part of your standard marketing presentation. Use it as part of your conference exhibit booth. There are almost limitless options. Learn more by clicking on the testimonial link at the top of our homepage at rflonline.com, and then discuss with us your situation. And you can get the ball rolling by emailing rflbob@gmail.com or calling 847-673-6284. Market researchers can't help but think ahead and be prepared to take down the veneer that some research participants put up. Sometimes the veneers are obvious, and at other times less so. And sometimes the participant is subconsciously holding back what they really feel. So what does a researcher do about that? What can they do about that? We spoke with Dub about getting to a participant's real feelings with John Whittle. He's a sociologist, a researcher, and a strategy consultant.
So we tend to specialize in, we provide an online community platform, but in order to make sure that people get the best of that, we like making sure they know the best tools and methods to really understand emotional intelligence and insight. Participants will behave in different contexts, just as we all will. You know, a mother will behave differently around her children as she might to her partner and to her friends, depending on the person that she wants to be seen and the way that she wants to engage. And Goffman looks at this as he uses the terms of front and backstage. People are actors. They work in teams and use props to deliver a performance to an audience. And now for the participant and the market researcher, the participant might be giving a certain role, playing a certain performance to the researcher. Now, you know, you mentioned the veneer there, and there's the concept. I think usually some researchers can tend to think, oh, participants might be hiding something from me, or they might be giving off a certain performance, and they're giving a certain face. But the tendency then is to start to think of things as valid and invalid, true and false. And actually what Goffman points out is that because identity is fluid, there is no such thing as a true singular identity, that actually it's the context and the environment that draws out a specific aspect. So the questions we then have to start to ask as researchers is, well, why am I seeing that certain identity? Why are they giving me that performance? Are they telling me something because they think that I want to hear that? And if they are, why is that? Is that just because they're playing the good participant role?
And is it intentional or unintentional, or a combination?
A combination of both. More often than not, it is very much unconscious. We will change our habits and our styles and the way that we engage, how we speak, how we present ourselves. We will change that from situation and scenario. And that might happen in a single project that perhaps explores two different concepts. You might notice a change in a participant, and you'd be tempted to think, well, which one of those is the right one? But as Goffman points out, it's not the fact that it's right, it's just that it's different. Rather than thinking, well, which one do I use? What you have to look at is, well, why? What is different about that? Perhaps when exploring a brand or a product, what is it about that brand that plays a role in how they're using that identity and constructing it? What is it about that what are the sort of tools that you can use to, as you said earlier, perhaps get through that veneer? And that's where you can use things like objective techniques.
So, John, obviously this can become something that you can go right at in a qualitative setting, but it seems to me that it obviously can occur in a quantitative setting too. And
Definitely.
In that setting, you may not even be aware of it. So do you have to prepare for that possibility or that likelihood?
If you're using quant, definitely. This is one of the things that I love, is that quantitative work always tends to be upheld as almost impervious to bias. And yet, as you pointed out there, it's very much prone to bias. And especially if you're not there to use it, it's what I love about qualitative work, is that a trained researcher who has knowledge and experience, they'll be able to pick up on those subtle differences in answers and probe and perhaps get through them. When designing surveys and when designing questionnaires and trying to get through that in a statistical quantitative sense, you have to take that into account. You have to think, well, how can I structure my questions? How can I keep them as perhaps open or as defined as I need to be? And know that the answers that you're going to get might not, they might be an element on that identity spectrum. It's why, statistics are good, but they're always good for just a given value.
Right. So does it tend to happen with certain situations, certain subjects, certain business categories? I know obviously there were people during Brexit and during the American election who didn't want to admit they were for Brexit and didn't want to admit they were going to vote for Trump.
You have to take this sort of stuff into account when you're working out, even the segmentation, even when from a basic level you begin to segment during research, you are already there factoring in a different type of identity. By the very nature of the fact we're trying to look at perhaps gender or age or ethnicity or location, we're already normally there starting to think, well, there is going to be a difference in that behavior or in that result that comes from that combination of background factors. When you're looking at specific products, definitely identities always come into play. It might be, say for instance, you're looking at things like cleaning products or household items. Certain people might want to show that they are familiar with these items, that they use them all the time, because, well, an identity there is cleanliness. We're clean people. And if you're doing that in a group, I'm a clean person. Look at me. Aren't you clean as well? Whereas perhaps maybe they're not always as familiar as you think. And that's why you have to use those different methods. You have to try and bring out whether that information is valid isn't the right word, but is actually as close to their natural behaviours away from the eyes of the researcher. The interviews and the focus groups, depending on the way that you run them and depending on sort of the digital methods that you use, if you're doing online moderation in groups, there's usually more of a conscious process. But there are certain tools you can use, we kind of use quick-fire things or implicit testing, where actually you're getting a bit more of that subconscious, getting people to think on their feet, and even, provide you with examples of behaviors in their everyday life. It's why video is such a fantastic thing. Video, as we're speaking now, people have to react in the moment. So you can start to see, is there a difference? Is there a backstage performance there that I want to actually hone in on? And can I build their trust? Because that's what...
That's your Research Business Daily Report. We hope you have a great research day, and we'll look for you back here tomorrow.